Okay guys, this is part 2 of my video that I was doing in the park, walking in the park, and I was actually talking about landscape design. Now landscape design, I was talking about the subject of landscape design and what they, just to give you an idea of what they do. As I'm in this lovely park, as I was speaking before in part 1 of this video, is that you got the high point, then you got the footpath. So you're designing all these things like the footpaths, where they're gonna go, how they're gonna flow, the drainage points, the water runoff areas. So all this, like this is a little valley here where the water actually runs through from the very top, going down, down, and it's gonna flow out that way. But here also it's like a catchment as well. It's like a basin. So this area would actually hold water if it floods, but also they have to consider things like drainage, as I mentioned in part 1. Part 1, drainage. So in here you can actually see that it's like a valley, and the water, there's a valley here and a basin here. So you have to think what's underneath, what needs to be put in here. Like for example, underneath here there will be some hidden drains, most likely in this area here, wherever there's a low point, and maybe even in there they will have such things as agricultural drains or perforated pipes. Agricultural drains, what they call them in Australia, and abbreviations would be Aggie drain. It's very common to use the word Aggie drain, just to shorten the actual word. So Aggie drains, agricultural drains, Aggie drains, they'll be put in the ground roughly in this area, I could imagine. And these drains, the water that sits on the top here that collects, it will actually get soaked into the ground and it will actually it will drain into, it will fall into the perforated pipe, drain pipe that's underneath. It's probably a very big, thick one too. It wouldn't be a small one. So all this water that sheds off these hills, it will come down, it will drain away secretly underground. Then you don't have any unsightly pipes, unsightly drain down pipe. What do you call it? Drain pits everywhere, because I don't see many here. Now, as I'm walking here, I've never been this far. There's more plants here being planted. But I've never been to this park for... Actually, I've never walked this park before. Maybe in a different area, because it continues a long way. See, there's one right here. A big pit. Now, I can already see there is some sort of pipe there. So, instantly there is a pipe going along in from there. Don't know where else it goes, but there's definitely secret pipes under here, or concealed drains, hidden drains. So this park is actually quite a big park. It continues a long way. I don't know how far it goes, but it's good exploration. Midday walk. Don't know if it's a good idea, because I've got a big job after this video. I'll be driving down to the other side of town. I'll be driving to the other side of town to prepare for, well, get some lunch and prepare for my next job. Now, this is the other side of the park. I've just crossed the road here. It continues that way, and it continues this way. And you can see how it's shaped. There's a lot of nice, beautiful grass here. It's flowing really nice. I think this side of the park, or the reserve, is actually a more boring side. I wish if I had gone the other direction, because it looks like there's not much happening this way, and I might be wasting my time. So I think the best thing to do is for nice houses. At least we can admire the property. The properties around here. Look at that house. Beautiful. And a nice big jacaranda tree. Now, let's see what's over here, guys. What is over here? I don't know what you call this tree, but it's got this type of plants. I don't know what you call this, but I don't know if this is what you call a wattle tree. It might be a wattle. I just don't know. I don't know what you call this, but either way, it's a very interesting plant, and it's very hard. It's got a very hard nut that you cannot really easily crack, but it does pretty well. So we've got a few native trees that are still standing. Some of them are quite old, as I was saying before, like this one right here. This one is probably a tree, maybe 60 years old. I'm gonna guess 60 years old at least. It might even be older. A lot of these trees they can live quite a long time, maybe even 100, 200 years before they fall. And usually they get a bit sick. If they get too tall, they actually do collapse, or they just fall over due to the wind. And as they get older, obviously they get replanted with new ones. But it's very, very relaxing. As you can see, there's a man there taking on his, usually retired people at this time of the day, because it is that time, 1:30. At this time, usually a lot of retired people, they're not working. They go out for walks, and I've met already a few of them already, doing their walks, their daily walks, and getting their daily exercises. Look at this. Townhouses. So this type of houses where they're stacked next to each other, and they're usually very tall. We call these, in Australia, they call them townhouses, and very, very, very lovely, very, very interesting. Because and also look at the fencing, very expensive. Probably each one of them is probably a good $2 million. And then you got this tree here, is a bit young. It's probably only 20 years old, not even. Yeah, maybe 20 years old would be roughly its age. Yeah, so lovely, lovely area to be in. This is another plant here that you commonly see in Australian native plant selection. It's a very, it's not a pretty tree, but it's very common. But look at that. Very common. It grows in a very strange way. Very, very dry on the inside, but green on the outside. Myself, I don't like it, but it's part of the native tree in Australia. It's very common. I don't know what name of tree it is. If you do, please write in a comment. We can all get educated. I am not an expert in any of this stuff I'm saying. When it comes to trees, I'm not an expert in trees, but look at the variety of trees. So you got this one here, got that one there, you got this one here, very different. Then you got that one over there, very different. Then you got that tree there, it's same as the one I'm showing you here, but just look at the selection of trees. And hear the nature. I'll be quiet for a second so you can actually just take in the nature. Before I do that, see those two ladies walking there, one there and one the other side, on the far end? Young ladies. That's one thing Australians love to do, exercise. From the young adults to the old They just like exercising. They like to keep themselves fit when they got spare time. It's part of, maybe it's part of the culture. I would say it's part of the culture. It's part of the Australian culture to just keep fit. And I think it's a very good idea. More people around the world should be doing that, perhaps. And usually people like that, young people especially, if they're exercising, it usually means two things. Either young adults to be exercising. Usually kids, you won't see them exercising during the day because they're usually just playing. They're not exercising. And also they're at school at this time. So this is not a school holiday. But during normal school days, at this time, 1 o'clock, midday, it's the young adults exercising and the retired. The young adults are usually people that work, either work night shift, and that's a very common thing to do in Australia, is working night shift. Night shift work is very, very common. Oh, look at this lovely tree. Huge, huge tree. I would say this thing has been around 60, 70, maybe even 100 years. It was planted a very long time, I can tell. And same with that one there. That one may be slightly younger, but this one and that tree are probably the oldest tree I've seen in this whole park since I started this walk. Now, back to what I was saying. Night shift work is very common. Oh wow, it is so cool under here. Well, right now the temperature is at least, I think it's 28 degrees. So it's starting to get warm. And under this tree is just so cool. That's one thing that these trees bring, is a lot of cool feelings. It's a very cool tree. I really appreciate it being here. There's a young man behind me taking a walk as well. So people like that are usually students. Students, because they got free time. Some days, uni students, I should say, not just students, university students, tertiary students, they're out doing exercise. Look at that guy working from home. Very, very common. Mansion house, small mansion house. But look at this tree. This tree has probably been around for at least 100 years. And look at it, it's blossomed to such an extent. This thing is probably 20 meters tall. 20 meters tall at least. And it grows and it grows and it grows. Look at this. So that's a mansion house. Rough, well, kind of like a mansion house. But this tree it's a good place to actually just to rest. They should put a bench here just to sit down because it's so lovely. It needs a seat. Okay, back to exercising. University students, because they've got time, they've got days where they don't have class every day. That's one thing I realized in Australia. When you go to university or TAFE, if you're doing a full-time study, a 2-year course, especially 2 years to 4 years courses, maybe even if you're a doctor, 7 years, whatever it is that you're doing it for. There are days where you go to university or to TAFE or college. In some countries, they call TAFE college. Here in Australia, college, it just means high school. From grade 7, year 7 to grade 12 or year 12. So that, something went in my eye. Oh boy. And there's a young man over there running, doing his exercise. So tertiary students, they have days where they don't actually have class. And because they don't have class, it means they've got time for extracurricular activities, such as exercise. If they're not exercising, then they're probably maybe visiting their friends or going to the library. So they give you these times where you can actually have like a day off during the week, where you can actually have, if it's even if it's not the whole day, sometimes you just get half a day off. So you may not have class from say 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. You might have a class from 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock. But then after that, you're free to do whatever you want. And they're hoping that you go to a library to catch up on assignments and homework, study for exams, that kind of thing. Look at that, lovely. That kind of thing. But usually what ends up happening, what I did as well, I trade that time in to do exercise. And I would go and play basketball. That was one of my favorite things. Play basketball in my spare time. I'll go to do my athletics. I used to be part of an athletics club. So I'd go and do training. I would run, I'd go jogging, and I'd do all these things to make sure that I'm staying fit and healthy and ready for competition. Competition was my big thing. So there's one running right now. So competition was my favorite thing. I really liked competition. I liked a good challenge, a good healthy challenge, not something supernatural. So I'll do that in my spare time. Yee! I gotta go to work today. Oh, this is turning out to be a interesting walk, guys. I really was not planning to take such a long walk. There's some shops down there, but I don't think I'm gonna make it that far. I might. Let's see how we go. But my legs are feeling good. They're feeling healthy. I've been meaning to have this walk for a few weeks. It's been a while since I've actually taken a nice leisurely walk. Look at this peaceful. This is actually a cricket ground. It's a sports field. They can play football here and they can play cricket. Cricket, I think, is the main sport that they support here. Let's see. There we go. There we go. This one is Ashburton Willows Cricket Club. So that's a clubhouse. What do you call a clubhouse? This building. So that's cricket. Here, it could be another cricket or it could be a different sport. So there could be cricket here and there could be football ground. I don't know which one. Or it could be just the same thing. So, I feel like taking a nice shortcut through here. Something a little bit more interesting. What do you reckon, guys? Let's go for it. Oh, let's take a shortcut. I'm off the trail now. Remember, guys, Steve Irwin. Remember Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, the Australian guy? I believe this week was his like a Memorial Day or Memorial week. Steve Irwin. Check him up on the internet, on YouTube. Type in Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. He was famous for going out into the wilderness, and he had a very interesting way of presenting his films. It was a reality thing, but he would look for animals in the wild and he would chase them down, hunt them down, and sometimes he would be lucky enough to capture one. And one of the famous things they used to capture, he was known for, was capturing crocodiles and actually going around and crocodiles and filming him catching crocodiles. He would drive around his Toyota Land Cruiser. He would jump out and chase one down into the water and wrestle with it, and then sometimes he would be lucky and pull it out of there and give us a really good show. Okay, so I'm gonna go back this way. think I've come to the... I'm not gonna go back that way. Okay guys, I think I'm gonna head back this way now, because I think my walk is going too far. And I want to start heading back home or something. I'm out of range. I need to start heading back. But anyway, while we're doing that, sorry to cut this walk short, as this guy here takes you guys on an adventure. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Look at this. Typical modern houses in Australia. This is what they're building. Most of them are this style of houses. And very nice. I really love it. I love it. Well, where was I before? So I didn't finish the story about the exercise situation. Yeah, so that's why I see a lot of young people exercising at this time. It's not like it's not that they're not got nothing to do. Most of them have something to do, but they don't want to be unfit. A lot of the life in Australia or in the Western world, it's not like it is in parts of like Africa and some parts of Asia. There's a lot of times where people are just at home, sitting, not much to do. Guys, I hope I'm going the right way here. I'm really off course now. I've never been this side, but I still want to see where it ends us up. I'm kind of getting lost, but I believe I'm going to end up in the right place. My mental compass is telling me I'm going the right direction. But look at these houses, guys. These houses. This is what what was I saying? I'm losing my thoughts here. Look at this old house. It's old, but it's still nice. So these are the original style houses that were found or built in this area. This house is probably 60 years old, 60, 70 years old. The house is probably only 4 or 5 years old, maybe 3. These are the modern style houses they're building now. Very nice style. I like it. Grass is cut low. It's like an old style but new. A new modern. So I thought this is so I hope you guys are enjoying this video. It's another perspective, another view of Australian life. And this is kind of like the high society life. This is not the common life. Not everybody has this kind of money. You know, this type of money is a different type of money. This is $1 million kind of money. If you're earning $1 million, hey, look at this bird. Try to attack me. You, don't do that again. Yeah. He tried to attack me, so it's probably protecting its nest. So guys, there's probably a nest somewhere here, and that Indian myna, I think that's what they call them. They're called Indian myna. I don't know if they came from India, but they're quite aggressive. See this one? See that one? Again, trying to attack me, that one. They're quite aggressive. You gotta scare these things, because you know why? It's natural for them to do that because they're protecting something. It's usually a nest up high in the tree. I can't see it. I don't know which tree it is, but it must be roughly there. And those 2 birds. That means those birds are coupled. They're a couple. The female and the male. Some birds live like that. It's part of their nature. And once they have eggs or young birds, young baby birds. What do you call them? Baby birds. Children. Their job is now just to protect those little chicklings. I think that's what they call them. Chicklings? Chicks? Yeah. Once they have chicks, then they have to protect them. And that's what they're trying to do. I'm not against birds. I like birds. I just don't like it when they attack me. And the thing is, I won't kill them or anything even if I captured it. I just want to let it know not to mess with me and not to think that I'm gonna run away because it attacked. No. Such animals need to be put in their place. See guys, young guys playing and more young guys coming this way. These are probably only 18, 19-year-olds coming my way. And they probably finished school because it's December now. They're not finished school, they're doing exams. So right now, because it's exam time for high schoolers, year 12s, most of them don't have to go to school anymore. They do their studies at home. They only go to actual classes maybe once or twice a week, maybe not even, because they're actually supposed to be at home studying at home. Hey guys.
Hello.
How are you going?
Good, thank you.
You going for exercise?
Pardon?
You exercising?
Yes.
See those guys are exercising, as I was saying. See, I was definitely not lying. It's a common thing to find young people exercising in Victoria. It's just a common thing. They like the outdoors. That's one thing also. The outdoor adventure characters, that character is usually found in Australians. I've noticed that, the adventurousness. Maybe just in Europeans in general, but definitely in Australia, you find a lot of adventurous people. They like the outdoors. And that's why I brought up that guy, the famous guy, Steve Irwin. Type him up. Very interesting character. I used to watch him years ago. He passed away sadly. He died probably, how many years ago is that? Probably 10 years ago maybe now. It's been a long time, I suppose. Doesn't sound like it doesn't feel like a long time, but he's one of those guys that really displayed that adventurous character or that nature of adventure that I've noticed in Australians. Not all Australians are like Steve Irwin, by the way. Don't get that mixed up. Steve Irwin was a special breed. He was a special kind of a man. He was tough. He was a tough guy. He kind of symbolizes or reminds us, because I grew up in Australia most of my life, so I kind of have this understanding of the culture. And I was born in Africa, but I came when I was young, so I kind of know both cultures. Steve Irwin really kind of reminds us in Australia. I'm saying us because I'm an Australian citizen as well. He reminds us of Crocodile Dundee, the movie. His character almost mimics that guy. But Crocodile Dundee was just a movie, it was pretend. But Steve Irwin is not pretend, he's a real man, not an actor. He was a TV presenter, he owned a wildlife park, a zoo, I think it's like a zoo. I think right now, how the Australians zoos, look it up. Look him up yourself and find out the details. But he really maybe exaggerates the typical Australian stereotype or stereotypical character of an Australian man, like Crocodile Dundee, who is this wild, well, not wild, civilized man who's very adventurous, who likes the outback, meaning the wilderness. He spends a lot of time in the wilderness, and he knows a lot about the wilderness. Very adventurous, not scared of animals. He confronts and actually chases down dangerous animals, and he knows how to handle them. So Steve Irwin, when you watch him, I'm sure there's a few old videos. Like, remember Steve Irwin, his films were, or his documentaries, docudramas. So they're documentaries, but they're very dramatic. So they're docudramas. You might find them on DVDs if you can purchase them somewhere. But YouTube should have some videos, some short clips of these documentaries that he did. Very interesting. You should really watch him. He was really good. He would chase down a crocodile, catch it by the tail, jump on top of it, wrestle it, pull it out of the mud, out of the water. And he did that many times. And he would catch snakes, things like that. Like, you know, you catch snakes. Like, you just find a snake in the bush, he would chase it down, catch it, bring it out. Sometimes he got bit, and you actually see him get bit on film live. And it was so real, it made everyone, it shocked. It shocked. Look at that dog. Off its leash. Off its leash. And a few people, hello, people riding their cycling. So everyone's cycling, exercise, like a cycling club. They're out there doing their thing. They look like old people, or veterans cycling club, I should call it. Not old people, they're not old. Veterans. Veterans here in Australia, I think, are anyone over 40. I think when you're like over 40, you can pretty much classify yourself. Or is it 50? No, I think it's 50, something like that. Anyway, you don't have to be very old to be a veteran. Hello. Hello. So they're out there doing their adventure. Well, the exercise, bicycle or cycling. That's one way of getting your exercise, is through cycling. And Australians love their bicycles. They do have a lot of the big bicycle culture here. Now look at that house, beautiful. It's actually one big house. Wow, that's ginormous. Let's go down this way. Now that's where I'm parked over there. So I'll be back. Just do a little bit of an extra travel this way. Hello. Okay, yeah, back to the story of Steve Irwin. So catch all these wild animals. He would just jump like in this bush here. This is nothing. He would just run in there, catch a snake. And then sadly, I don't know if I should tell you the ending of his story. I suppose you're gonna find out anyway. So, his films, his adventures ended probably about 10 years ago. I think 10 years ago at least now. And it ended dramatically, very dramatic. I really wish that you would really go and watch his films. He probably supports his foundation because he has a zoo that his family runs and promotes. I think it's called the Melbourne Zoo. I think that's maybe where they actually have some of his stuff. I don't know if he owned it fully, or if it's just his name was there for promotion purposes. I don't know, but I do know he was either could be a big shareholder in that. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that helps support the Australian animals, Australian native things that